Come, let us worship together. Aging is beautiful. It's a natural process of life. It begins the moment we are born, and there is no fix for aging except death. A better narrative is to see aging as a positive, natural stage in life. It's a time to be excited about new possibilities, to be as brilliant or moody or opinionated as we want. To honor the wisdom of our years and lived experience, aging gracefully is a privilege granted to few people. Neil couldn't find a suitable story for today's service, and she suggested a poem. Now, poets throughout the ages have been intrigued by aging and old age. Just Google aging gracefully, and you'll see what I mean. I did just that. And I'll share two short poems I found. Let this be our time for all ages. Said the little boy, "Sometimes I drop my spoon." Said the old man, "I do that too." The little boy whispered, "I wet my pants." "I do that too," laughed the old man. Said the little boy, "I often cry." The old man nodded. "So do I." "But worst of all," said the boy, "it seems that grown-ups don't pay any attention to me." And he felt the warmth of a wrinkled old hand. "I know what you mean," said the old man. That was A Little Boy and the Old Man by Shel Silverstein. The second poem is Clearing the Way by Elora M. Knight. I've waited a long time to get old, so I think I should try to enjoy it. I can't turn it in for a refund, and I certainly don't want to destroy it. They tell me that life is a one-way street, as if I'm too dumb to know. I might as well keep moving on forward. There's not much choice where to go. I would like to lighten the luggage I've accumulated over the years. I'd be smart to release all the memories that brought about heartache and tears. That would make living much better. Free up space that then could be filled with appreciation for the good things of life, with the promise that then I could build a future that lives for the moment, with little concern for the past. My time will be filled with contentment, no matter how long it will last. So now that I'm ready for the rest of the trip, I foresee no problems ahead. I'll make each day be a worthwhile event, with no regrets for the life that I've led.
Thank you, Alex. I'm the Reverend Eric. Reverend Ellen is under the weather this morning. She asked me to sub in. At this time each week, we pause amid the backdrop of our lives and all that is going on in the world. We pause in recognition of at least some of the joys and sorrows, the challenges within this community of faith. So this morning, we pause in the backdrop of this spectacular late August morning, with the culmination of the Pride Week, the parade, just hours away now. We pause for the one submission I know of, and this is a generalized one that I think will affect many people. And I should say, we pause in recognition of those and place a stone in water. And as the ripples expand in this bowl, they expand through our space and beyond as well. This morning, a stone for all those caregivers among us and beyond, those who care for family members, neighbors, and friends, getting people who need to appointments and shopping, grocery runs. They make the circle of care and love among and beyond us as truly vital, alive, and trustworthy as it can be. And another stone this morning in recognition of all the joys and cares, the struggles that remain within the silent sanctuary of our hearts this morning. The ripples continue. Let us join together now in a few moments of stillness and silent reflection.
This morning we have two readings, and both will be read by two residents of Unitarian House, Jan Glyde and Marianne O'Hagan. The first reading is entitled Honoring Our Elders by Elizabeth Stevens, and the second is Life Review from the Unitarian Universalist Association's Handbook on Aging.
Honoring our elders. We give thanks for your presence among us.
Living examples of courage and perseverance.
We give thanks for the stories you have collected through the years.
By sharing your stories, you help shape ours.
We give thanks for the many tasks you have undertaken for the benefit of others.
We know that we have all benefited from your gifts and your labor.
We give thanks for your patience and your forbearance.
We know that getting older is not easy. Thank you for modeling aging with grace.
We promise this day to do what it takes to make your continued participation possible.
Your presence matters.
We promise to listen carefully when you speak.
Your stories matter.
We promise to carry forward the work of this community.
Your contributions matter.
We promise to journey with you in the years to come and to support you in ways that you deem helpful in the years you have left on this earth.
Your life matters.
You matter to us, and we know that we matter to you.
Let us be grateful for the gifts that come as generations meet and mingle.
Because in this beloved community of memory, caring, and hope, we believe that love matters most of all.
From earliest life, we struggle to assert our independence, to do it ourselves, and that desire and drive for self-sufficiency never ends. As we age and experience changing physical and mental abilities, changes that require our adaptation and adjustment, and possibly the assistance of others, our innate desire is still for autonomy. And our loss of autonomy may produce feelings of frustration, anger, and bitterness. To add insult to injury, the effects of aging may produce conditions that are not only inconvenient, but uncomfortable or embarrassing, and which may require the personal assistance of another, younger person.
Dependency is difficult, no matter what our age, but loss of independence isn't the only form of loss that we may experience. As our abilities change, there may also be a growing feeling of estrangement from oneself, a disconnect, if you will, between our self-perception and our physical reality. Most of us are not reared with the understanding that life's accidents and injuries and the process of aging will alter our physical and cognitive functioning. And so, as our abilities are impaired, our body ceases to be a place of familiarity, comfort, and ease. If our physical and cognitive functioning is no longer predictable and reliable, we no longer know our body. And who are we then? Whether we are engaged in a relatively comfortable aging process or a difficult one, it is likely that we will be engaged in the important process known as life review, a time of reflection upon the successes and failures of our life.
What we discern during this life review may produce an overhaul of every aspect of our living. For some, the experience produces a desire to tie up any remaining loose ends. But in all cases, it is a time of questioning. Are there things left undone or unsaid that I need to tend to now? What do I regret? What did I fail to do? Have I done life the way I ought to have done it? What can be done now, given the constraints of age and health? What do I hope will live on through my children, grandchildren, or students and others whose lives I have encountered?
In brief, the more advanced one's age, generally, the more steeped in loss of loved ones, of self, and abilities. Add to this the encouragement by others that we plan for end-of-life care and make funeral or memorial arrangements, acts which are unfathomable to most of us. Although we each know that inevitably we will die, we cannot begin to imagine the experience of dying or the world without our presence. And here, some doctor or adult child or social worker, some young person, is constantly reminding us that before too long, we'll find out about these mysterious events.
Well, I welcome the choir up, the summer choir, for one of our 2 songs for the day today. I'll introduce it to you. The song you're going to hear is a lullaby from the African country of Lesotho. The translation is "Hush, Hush, Child."
Tula, tula,
It is now my great honor to introduce our speaker for this morning, Jennifer Brierley. Jennifer is the Activities and Volunteer Coordinator at Unitarian House. She does an absolutely magnificent job. I'm not going to say any more about her. She'll introduce herself during the course of her talk. Suffice to say that this is the third of our summer services from Unitarian House, we might say, and I'm delighted to introduce Jennifer, who tells me that she is an apprentice for the topic of her talk, which is Growing Old Gracefully, the Spirituality of Aging.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone, and happy Pride. It is so nice to see so many familiar faces here today and be in such a welcoming space. As mentioned, I am the Director of Activities and Volunteering at Unitarian House of Ottawa, and I'm honored to have been asked to speak to you today. Over the last month, you have had the pleasure of hearing from both Jackie Holtzman, President of the Board of Unitarian House, and Melanie Lefebvre, Executive Director of Unitarian House. They are true leaders and amazing women. I feel very lucky to have the opportunity to learn from both of them. However, in retrospect, I kind of wish I had offered to speak first, as they are both hard acts to follow. When Alex asked me to pick a topic for the sermon, I went back and forth through various passions, hobbies, and experiences of mine. I thought I might speak about energy and energy healing, or perhaps the emerging field of psychedelics and its potential in end-of-life care. I thought I might speak about caregiving and caregiver fatigue. And then I realized, for the past 6 years, the one thread that aligns all of these topics is my interest in aging. Not just the process of aging, that is, the process of getting older and the fact that we are biologically mortal, but aging from a spiritual lens. Today, I hope to share with you my reflections on spirituality of aging from the many experiences I have had over the past 6 years in both my personal and professional life. In turn, I hope to be able to shed some light on how I think we can all work towards aging gracefully. That is, living our best life, not just keeping the wrinkles at bay. In my late teens and early 20s, I was full of energy. I had so much ambition, and I wanted to experience everything life had to offer. I was studying science and psychology with a minor in mathematics. I was passionate about the study of perception, and I was writing a thesis on mapping the novice mind. Nothing could stop me, or so I thought. One day, everything did just stop. I got sick. I couldn't do anything. I had chronic fatigue, and after many months and having to drop out of school, I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease. At the same time, my mom had started falling ill, and my parents were separating. I did what I needed to do to make some lifestyle changes and told myself to push through. Within the year, I was back in school, back at work, and now caretaking for my mom. Again, I told myself, I can do anything. I was pushing past all of the parts of my life that were misaligned. I wasn't listening to my body. I wasn't slowing down enough to see what was happening around me or to me. This went on for a couple of years. I would have mini burnouts and force myself to push through, ultimately causing adrenal failure. This was the first time I was forced to slow down because you cannot push. You don't have the ability to use adrenaline. I was slowing down, but I wasn't able to accept where I was in life. As my caretaking responsibilities continued to increase, and I am now in my mid to late 20s, I was in a negative headspace. I was feeling resentful and jealous of my peers. My relationship was falling apart, and unlike that young girl I was speaking about earlier, I was of the belief that nothing could go right. This brings us to 6 years ago. I was doing project management consulting finishing a thesis in social enterprise, and caretaking for my mom, who now lived with me and my partner. This was the year I stumbled upon Unitarian House of Ottawa and all of the wisdom it has to offer. This was the year that the way I looked at aging, at success, at who I wanted to be started to change. I was working part-time at the front desk at Unitarian House. I began to meet the most interesting people. I began to have deep conversations with many of the residents. It was beyond refreshing in a day and age where most of the people I was surrounded with were always texting or looking at their phone while I was trying to talk to them. I was raised to respect my elders. I always spent a lot of time with seniors growing up. I believe that they are the wisdom keepers. Not everyone in my age group embodies this belief. Seniors are often brushed aside because it takes them longer to do things. With the impatience in our society and the inability to concentrate, due in large part to the digital world, this brushing aside of seniors happens more and more. My peer age group often asks me if I get frustrated, to which I reply no. I explain to them that if you slow down, stop for a minute to listen, truly listen, you will gain more from any conversation you have than you will researching something on Google. The collective wisdom that is contained in a place like Unitarian House is incredible. As I had more and more conversations, my thought experiment began. I was meeting 95-year-olds who I thought were 60, and 75-year-olds who I thought were 90. I wanted to explore this. I wanted to understand how people can age so differently and what contributed to this. The first key to aging gracefully that I observed was gratitude. Many of the seniors did not have an easy life. I was told stories about living through the war, about illness, and about loss. The most remarkable part was how so many of them were so grateful while telling the story, and how often in the same story about pain or loss, there would be laughter. The vibrancy of these seniors was so much more than the ones that look back with negativity. I saw a reflection in myself of looking at hardship with negativity and unappreciation for what it could teach me or where it could lead me. I wanted to be vibrant when I grow old, and more importantly, I wanted to be vibrant now. I started practicing gratitude. The realization for the next two keys to aging gracefully that I observed came after a few experiences. I had taken a full-time position at the front desk. I was still consulting and still caretaking. My mom was getting worse. One day a resident said to me, "Just come and sit down, relax for a minute. There is always time to pause. You're going to get sick moving this fast all the time." I look back, and for whatever reason, this one day, this one quiet pause made a difference. We talked some more, and she told me that sometimes life doesn't slow down for certain people, that some people will always have to carry more weight on their shoulders. So it's up to me to find these moments to pause. The next month, I began a 3-year program in energy healing. To this day, I have become better at pausing, and regardless of what comes my way, I know I have a greater resilience. Shortly after this, I was offered the position of activity and volunteer director. This gave me an even greater opportunity to connect with the seniors of Unitarian House. I started reading books on aging to find out about the ways that I could support a senior community in the pursuit of aging gracefully. One thing I came across is that as we age, we have a greater ability to make shifts in our character or our personality traits. We become less and less shaped by character traits, and we are shaped more and more by the circumstances that life deals us and our responses to those circumstances. It is our attitudes towards situations that shape who we are. When COVID started, that's when I saw things more clearly. my mom's health had declined even more, and she was hospitalized many times, at one point for 13 consecutive weeks. She pushed through. She made sure to walk the hallways every day. She looked at the positives, and no matter what pain or diagnoses came her way, she kept going. I watched other people deteriorate in the same situation. It was her grit and resilience that got her through. Those are the other keys. I started seeing how resilience, grit, and gratitude played such a huge role in aging gracefully. All of the stories over the years that I had heard about struggle and loss all made sense. The seniors that I admired most, that I wanted to grow up to be, set goals to push through when they faltered in life, and bounced back afterwards with gratitude for what still remained. Grit, gratitude, and resilience. These are the traits that set the pack apart. But there's more. There's more to aging gracefully. I started to explore two things: the spiritual journey of aging and the day-to-day practices that we employ to help us age in the best way possible toward the very best end. Spirituality involves a search to fundamental answers about our existence. When talking about one's spirit, we are describing a force that animates one's inner being. And by extension, anything that helps us attune to this force can be described as spiritual. I asked many people about what I should say today about aging, and I was met with, "Aging sucks." Does it have to suck? What can we do to see it differently? There is a Buddhist teaching that everything changes. Everything we know and love is destined to change, age, and pass away. Intellectually, we all know this. We know that everything ages around us. For much of our life, it is just a familiar fact that we barely notice. But as we grow older, it is harder to shrug off. Aging is not just change, it is irreversible change. Our triumphs sustain us, and our losses mark us. There is no going back. What is equally as true is that each moment in life brings with it new possibilities, and we shouldn't allow our fixed ideas about aging to take these opportunities away. Every breath, new chances. If everything changes, then we should add that everything is workable, maybe especially in old age. In 1900, the average life expectancy was 47 years old. And as recently as 1950, it was only 58. Today, that is no longer the case. People are living longer and longer, so we need to ask ourselves what the best use of this extra time is. The seniors that appear to be aging most gracefully are those that have chosen to use this extra time for the cultivation of an inner life, a time for spiritual practice. Coming to terms with aging is a process of acceptance, adaptation, and appreciation. How we process experiences like retirement, grief, decreased independence, and our growing awareness of our own mortality are connected to how well we come to terms with aging. Erik Erikson's stages of development theory say that around 65, our internal conflict to resolve is that of ego integrity versus despair. Do you feel proud of your life? That doesn't mean you haven't made any mistakes, but rather you feel fulfilled when you look back. If so, you are in a state of ego integrity. If you have bitterness about life's disappointments, you may be in a state of despair. Aging gracefully involves achieving ego integrity. If we understand the purpose and meaning of our lives, we will be more prepared for the inevitable changes of growing older, and we can adapt more easily to change. The seniors that have truly come to terms with their age and are now living a life in a beautifully vibrant way have chosen to really look at their experiences and reflect on them. They have become attuned with their spiritual core. They do activities that promote a deeper sense of connection, meaning, and purpose. They spend time in nature, they meditate, and they sit and do absolutely nothing. They sit with their thoughts. They play, laugh, love, and create. They do activities that they enjoy, that bring them closer to other people or make a positive difference in the world. At Unitarian House, we have so many seniors who are aging gracefully. The community helps foster this. One way that is most noticeable is our volunteering network. With the average life expectancy being much higher, people are retiring young when they still have so much to offer. One of the largest factors of decline in seniors is lack of purpose. After 65, even though certain types of intelligence begin to decline, many actually increase. Seniors have accumulated more crystallized knowledge, and then this increases the ability for trend extraction. That is, recognizing connections between environments, which in turn result in better judgment and problem solving. Many people retire when they could be incredibly valuable resources. Volunteering is one way to keep providing your time and efforts to a worthy cause while keeping your brain and body engaged. Seniors who have a purpose live longer and decline slower. One book I read was called Successful Aging by Daniel Levitin. He uses the acronym COACH to remind people of 5 key things in aging: conscientiousness, openness, associations, curiosity, and healthy practices. Out of all of these, 3 things are critical to successful aging or aging gracefully. First, work at being more conscientious. Do things when you say you will do them. Conscientiousness is associated with much better life outcomes. Second, try new things. Fight that complacency that can set in from having lived a long time, knowing what you enjoy and not wanting to try new things. Trying new things is very important for brain health. Spend time with new people and be curious about new things. Maybe take up an instrument, or even just start by brushing your teeth with your non-dominant hand. And third, follow healthy practices. Get out and move, especially in natural environments. If you aren't mobile, find a way to be looking at or in nature. When it comes to diet, exercise, and sleep, it's never too late to start developing healthy practices. No wonder we have such vibrant seniors at Unitarian House. We have a wonderful network of people who encourage each other to participate, to try new things, and we are blessed to live on such a wonderful campus. Thank you to this congregation for providing us with access to the beautiful nature in your meditation gardens. Aging gracefully is possible for everyone. We often think it starts after 65. I hope to inspire you all today, regardless of age, to start looking at the aging process from a spiritual lens, a lifelong pursuit. The word grace comes from the Latin word gratis, which means pleasing. Many seniors tell me that the benefit of growing older is that they don't have to please anyone but themselves. At whatever age, or however we choose to approach aging, it is important to feel good about ourselves. Don't regret growing older. It's a privilege denied to many. This sentiment is timeless. Our social narrative is that seniors are in the way or declining. We see wrinkles, gray hair, and people who are stooped in a biased way. It is a latent bias. It is ageism. We need to be open-minded, open-hearted, and honest with ourselves. We shouldn't let someone's appearance affect how we accept or relate to them. We need to educate ourselves about the advantages of aging, the wisdom, the positivity, and the compassion that older adults exhibit. We need to change the way we include them in society. We need to value their input. If we start contemplating aging now, we can stop pushing it away, stop trying to fight it. It is inevitable. This will help us bridge the gap between generations. As said in Proverbs 16:31, gray hair is a crown of splendor. It is attained by a righteous life. We have a culture right now amplified by social media where there is constant comparison between others. As we age, when we are faced with growing awareness of our own mortality, we have the opportunity to appreciate our lives more instead of comparing our circumstances to others and striving for more material things. It is our attitude and connection to others that influence our satisfaction with our lives. Lifestyle factors have a bigger influence on happiness levels than wealth or fame. How healthy you feel impacts how healthy you are. The feelings we have about aging play a big role in how we approach it. Many seniors don't see themselves as old at all. Roughly 65% of adults over 65 say they feel younger than they really are. And 25% of people in their 20s and 30s say they feel older than they really are. Us young people could take some advice from the seniors. If old age is not a static stage of life, then the phrase, "you are only as young as you feel," is a good guide to aging gracefully for us all. I try to model myself after seniors every day. I see the seniors that have aged so gracefully, and even though they have retired from their day job, they have created an equally, if not more, fulfilling life. I see their grit, gratitude, and resilience in every struggle they encounter. For the seniors I admire most, aging gracefully comes down to attitude, not what they look like or what they can or cannot do. They are living their dash. The last paragraph of Linda Ellis's poem, Live Your Dash, says, "So when your eulogy is being read, with your life's actions to rehash, would you be proud of the things they say about how you spent your dash?" One of the most striking observances for me is how people who age gracefully and come at aging from a spiritual lens are able to talk about their mortality and are honest about exploring the topic. I will be heading back to school this winter to start my master's in counseling. I want to specialize in aging and palliative counseling. I think that the more we can educate society on aging, the more conversations about aging, death, and dying will become possible. Helping people look at those deep spiritual questions around the growing awareness of one's own mortality at various stages of life will help people change their perception of time, allow them to live more in the moment, and hopefully age gracefully. I was fortunate to start my spiritual aging journey at a young age, having my own health problems, being a caregiver, experiencing caregiver fatigue, and making the transition to retirement for Mom really forced me to come to terms with aging. I started working on accepting, adapting, and appreciating. Most people face these transitions in life much later on, and I am so grateful to have the experiences I have had. I am also very grateful for having the past 6 years to watch and observe, to absorb all of the positive aging practices from this wealth of collected wisdom. I started going to sleep on time, working out more, and really taking those moments to slow down, pause, and reflect, to appreciate the moment. I am hoping that in the next year or two, I get to embark on the wonderful journey of motherhood. And I hope that my children get the gift of spending time with this vibrant community of seniors as I have. I also hope to instill in them the importance of embracing our elders. I invite you, starting today, to join me on the journey to discover how to enjoy your own aging to the fullest, how to age gracefully. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ben. We're now having our second anthem for the day. The program says that This will be by Mary Ella and Jen. There's been a slight change. As you can see, it's going to be Mary Ella and Anne Nagy. Thank you very much, Muriel and Anne. That was beautiful. This congregation has a long history of care, vitality, and bringing people together to move the arc of justice forward. We've been able to live into our hopes and dreams because of the generosity of those within and beyond this community. Whether you are here in Worship Hall or anywhere else at all, you are part of this community. To make a gift in support of the work of this congregation, you don't need to use the baskets that will soon be making their way among our pews. Wherever you are invited to go to our website or contact our finance manager to find out how to make a donation to keep up with your pledge. Our gifts are freely given and gratefully received. We dedicate these gifts to the work of this community of faith, serving human wholeness, caring for the planet, upholding religious freedom, welcoming the stranger, loving one another. Now our closing hymn. Those here in Worship Hall, please feel free to stand and sing or hum along. For those elsewhere, if you have a hymnal with you, the song is "We Are a Gentle, Angry People," number 170, in Singing the Living Tradition.
Sorry. If you're following along in your hymnal, I just want to note for you, we are making one little change to the words. So this is a protest song by Holly Near, written after the assassination of Harvey Milk. On verse 5, Holly, I found a lovely video of her talking about the evolution of verse 5, where at first it was, "We are gay and lesbian together." So it was an expression of solidarity. But then she says she was feeling so surrounded by the love and support of allies that it became, "We are gay and straight together." But in her current understanding of gender, sexuality, and our current understanding has grown to include so many different facets and such different ways of loving people and expressing yourself that now when she sings it, she sings, "We are all in this together." So when you get to verse 5, that's what we'll be singing today, is "We are all in this together." Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was great. As we go forward into this frightening, exhilarating, confusing, miraculous world, may we offer our comfort to the afflicted, our love to those who are lonely, our support and encouragement to those who are growing old gracefully, and our wish for all to be safe. The flame of our chalice is now dimmed, but its warmth and glow remain and go with us wherever we may go during the days ahead. And our Spirit of life. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea. Gulda me Vide soir de justice, terrore moi, c'est l'emporte-moi, source de vie, vive-moi, vive-moi. The postlude, the order of service states that the postlude will be Jennifer playing her violin. Unfortunately, she broke a string, so the violin broke a string, and she won't be able to play it. So instead, we're going to have the postlude right now, where Jennifer and her partner, Eva Como, are going to sing a song about the aged, and then we'll have the benediction, so that those of you who want to rush off to the Pride Parade can do so.
I was a little girl alone in my little world who dreamed of a little home for me. I played pretend between the trees, fed my house gas sparking leaves, and laughed in my pretty bed of green. I had a dream that I could fly from the highest wing. I had a dream. Long walks in the dark through woods grown behind the park. I ask God who I'm supposed to be. The stars smile down on me and answer in silent reverie. I said a prayer, fell asleep. I had a dream that I could fly from the highest wing. I had a dream. left to say about this life I'm willing to leave. I've lived it full and lived it well, so many tales I've lived to tell. I'm ready now, I'm ready now, I'm ready now to fly from the highest wing. I had a dream.
Thank you very much, Jennifer and Eva. Before we depart this morning, just a reminder that there's no fellowship hour this morning. All are invited to go down to join the congregation's contingent at the annual Pride Parade. Announcement 2 that Sharon asked me to make. She's going to be in the volunteer room at the very back here to help you take whatever leafy greens you want. No charge, just help yourself to the leafy greens provided by the Ajaski Garden. And finally, before the blessing, thanks to Stephen and Casey for the audiovisual assistance this morning, to Jen and the choir, to Mary Ellen and Anne Nagy for old friends, and to Jennifer for her few words to us this morning, and the beautiful song that she sang with Eva. Thank you so much. So may we all have a passionate zest for our world, much gentleness, and may we all be more human to the very end. With this hope, as the medieval mystic Julian of Norwich said, all shall be well, all shall be well, all manner of things shall be well. Go in peace, go in love, go in joy. Miigwech gigawaba min minawa. Drive safely.